And welcome everybody to Rick Snyder's Warston, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, and even comment. And as a matter of fact, while everybody's coming in the room, um, we are doing a fundraiser tonight for a high school ceramics club that just opened up, and they need some clay. So don't be a stick in the mud. Look down there in the comments. I know it's dad joke time. What can I tell you? I'm tired. And donate some money. And the money comes to it, the PayPal, Venmo. I'll donate. We'll buy supplies for the ceramics club. Hey, I figure it's a bunch of kids doing good, clean, fun kind of thing. Not getting in trouble. So why not support them a little bit here? So that's what tonight's all about. None of the money's coming to me. It's all going to them on there. We buy whatever they want on Amazon kind of stuff. So let's do it that way. And as we wait for a few people have already come in. Steve, where are you? On there. Been a sad week, here in Washington. We had a terrible plane crash, and found out two of the young men were sons of friends of mine from long ago, which I didn't know the kids. I know their dads. And 8 people died in my area that were on that plane. They were a hunting group that went out to Kansas for duck hunting and were coming home, and they never made it. So it's been a really sad few days around here in Southern Maryland. So always helps. That's the great thing about sports. Hey, Steve, you forget your troubles for a little while, watch the game. That's what it's for, to be honest. That's why I tell people, don't get upset about sports. This is supposed to be the fun part. So, let's try and make it that. And there was a lot to go on today. Got a lot is here. Thanks for coming. So I'll go down a few things while the crowd's filling in the door. Josh Harris talked today. Guess what? You're not getting the Redskins' name back. Okay, now I'm going to start getting mad again. Not doing it. And for those who said he didn't say that, yes, he did. He said very specifically they're staying with Commanders. Okay, there were no options. Now, they may do something with a uniform, might bring back the colors correctly, put the stripes on a helmet, something like that. That might be coming, and even in this offseason. But the name, no. The Red Wolves people, I'm sorry. You're going to just go back Arkansas or something, whatever these people are, And he also said that the stadium they hope to have by 2030, and that sounds about right. That's a workable timetable. He said, they're talking to DC, they're talking to Maryland. Really talk much about Virginia, so I don't see that ever happening. Enough of that already. And he said this year they're really focusing a lot on the stadium experience to upgrade. He mentioned the upper deck. So I know that they've actually had people in the upper deck this past year or two. So, local fans. So much for that. What else we got here on notes? I'm sorry. I wrote down a bunch of notes here. I mean, basically somebody said, do you want to build a stadium? Do you want to build a complex? Meaning an entertainment district, all that. And he said, really, it's kind of up to the cities themselves, whether Washington wants to do that. I don't know. Washington be less inclined because there just isn't the land for what everybody wants to do there. We'd have to level the whole city and start over. Whereas Maryland could do that, but you're in Landover, and that's not exactly what you want either. So, we'll see. He said that's up there. And somebody said, who's paying for all this? You or the public funds? He said, well, can't really talk about that. We're in negotiations. And, quite frankly, he's right. He can't say, I'm going to really hold tight against the D.C. government, but I'll break in the end and pay it if I have to. Can't say anything like that. So I'm sure it's going to be a combination. Washington, if it goes to D.C., and the way he's talking, you can tell he clearly wants D.C. first, but they got to meet him. He won't own the land, so he's going to be a tenant on that level. And he basically said, I got to see what DC wants. DC's not going to want all these extra things, but that might be okay. But there'll be some public money. It always is on that kind of thing. What else we got here? I laugh. He said in the end, negotiations don't happen in a smooth way. No kidding. I mean, Josh didn't get his basketball arena in Philadelphia like he wanted, so much for that. All right, on another topic, Myles Garrett said today, I want out of Cleveland. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't his GM just say last week that they wouldn't take 2 firsts for Garrett? Would they take 3? Would they take 2 firsts and John Allen? What do you do? Myles Garrett's the first player in NFL history to have 14 or more sacks 4 straight years. Okay, 7 straight years of 10 plus. Just his rookie year, he was a little under 10. So this is a guy that Washington definitely could use. And I know some people said, no, wait a minute. They're going to go get Micah Parsons. And they may. That's an interesting one. I don't always chase these free agent, dreams. But that one's a real one too, I think, with giving Quinn here. So you can pay for both. Garrett's going to want a new contract. So when Parsons is going to want too. Those two right there are going to be pricey. But when we talk about what does this team need, it needs some playmakers and it needs them on defense. And those two guys go a long way toward all that. And if you think, well, you don't want to give up first round picks. Well, they're picking 29th this year. It's not like, you're almost really in the second round at this point. So that's something to consider too on there. This guy's defensive player of the year. Yeah, he's a little older. He's not going to last forever, but who lasts forever in the NFL anyway? All right, going to some questions. No, didn't see anything about Steve, but Timberwood RFK Stadium site, whatever that means. I know what you're talking about. I didn't pay much attention to it. Okay, Cup requested a trade too. You think we could get him for a wide receiver too? Cup's contract is huge, so I wouldn't trade for him. It's not worth that money. As Steve said, Wizards won yesterday. Yeah, they won by 2 points. They got 7 wins now, and I think 43 losses. Whew. I sure hope that they get somebody decent in the draft. Bob, Bob, did I start early? Maybe a couple minutes. I'm here for you, Bob. Okay, Mr. Keen, should they give up this year's first round plus extra if they could get Miles? So I just talked about that. Yeah, I would. To some point, you can't go crazy. You can only trade 3 ones, by the way, in the NFL. So you can't give them 5 or something stupid like that, like to do in the NBA. Okay, Steve's back. I remember the Monday night game, what Garrett did to Pittsburgh. Yeah, this dude's a wrecking machine. He's what Allen and Payne have never become. So this guy has done it. Mike, the renderings have giant windows facing the Capitol. Oh, yeah, I saw that one too. It's nice. I don't know. I'm not really into that too much. What I would like to see in the new stadium is seats that bounce up and down. I know they can replicate that from the RFK experience. Now, RFK did it because that side was built on temporary bleachers. So they literally were moving up and down. Never broke. Give them that. You could put some kind of springs in these things. People would pay extra. Wouldn't you pay extra to sit in the bouncing seats? There are midfield kind of seats. They're pretty decent as far as that goes. So I don't know. I would like to see. That's my little thing I'd like to see. Will I still be covering this team in 6 seasons or 5, whatever it is, until they get to a new stadium? I don't know. I didn't think I was coming back this year, but I guess I am. This is next week's the last show on Monday nights for about a month because I haven't missed a week since last July, and Rick wants some time off, and I'm going to Hawaii. So, I want to take a couple weeks off. I'm going to be out in LA and Hawaii and come back to Seattle. Be weird. Hawaii, 80 degrees. I'll fly to Seattle. It'll be 40 degrees. I got to put a coat in my suitcase. My wife said, hey, you needed a suitcase. I found a really nice one. So I'm taking it and you're getting my old one. So I've been married 44 years. I knew that game was coming. Okay. Todd, Garrett got into it with Mason Rudolph. Yeah, the helmet game. Okay. All right, Roost. You think the Harris Group closes the RFK deal since the team is having a lot of success? Well, I don't know if it happened today or not. The city council was going to adopt the lease agreement with the federal government that was signed by Biden. The city still has to accept it. I think it was supposed to be today, or if not today, this week. Once that happens, then they're really free. And Harris even admitted, he said, DC hasn't been a player at the table because they haven't been able to do it. But they're going to have a 99-year lease, and now they can finally do that. So we'll see. I think there'll be a deal struck this year. But will it hold? I don't know. Uh, got a Lopes, I guess it's called. Good to see you won't be losing coordinators. Yeah, I mean, look at Detroit. They lost both their coordinators. What happens to them now? Interesting. Teams that lose both coordinators usually take a step back. I remember I covered University of Maryland about 20 years ago, and Friedgen was there, and they were doing well. And then they lost both their coordinators, and things went south real quick because those guys also are recruiters. So I've seen it happen, and it doesn't go well normally. We'll see. Yeah. So anyway, next week, of course, Super Bowl on Sunday. I'm going to take Kansas City because until you kill the king, he's still the king. And to beat the Chiefs, you got to beat the Chiefs. You got to beat the NFL, which Goodell today said BS on that rumor, but whatever. We all know. You got to beat Taylor Swift Nation. I mean, the refs. I mean, it's a lot of people to beat. So I'm going to go. I don't want to root for the Eagles. You can put up your scores if you want. I don't want to root for the Eagles. So I don't have a big dog in this fight. I want to see Taylor jump up and down happy when Kelsey scores. Whatever. Dude's got to get on the field and propose to her at this point if they win. Now, there's a secret rumor. I have daughters. I hear these things. There's rumors that they're engaged. Todd, do you think Alex Ovechkin will break Gretzky's goal record this season? I was asking somebody about hockey this the other day, and he's like, yeah, the way he's going, they might make it. It's unfortunate he missed about a month with that injury, but the dude is rolling, man. He can smell it. I bet if he gets within 5 going into the last, let's say 5 games, yeah, he definitely goes for it. Steve, Andy Reid needs to retire if he wins again. Why? If he's happy coaching, keep going. You didn't say Belichick quit, and how many has he won? 7. So if you're as an older person now, I have learned if I'm still happy working something, I don't have to retire. I don't have to get paid much either, but whatever. So I'm now part of these volunteer nation too, helping out a couple of deals they don't get paid for and do the work, but that's okay. And so nobody paid attention to my earlier chat note where we are raising money for a high school's new ceramics club. So don't be a stick in the mud. Put some dough in here. You can either send it to my PayPal and Venmo, or you can do it here if you want the dollar sign. All the money is going to the kids. Hey, at least these kids are having good, clean fun and not out there doing dope or whatever. And let's try to support them a little bit. Throw a few bucks, help some kids, have an after school activity that's worth doing. No, my kids are not in this thing. It's just somebody's daughter I know, and they're great kids. So we're trying to help them. It's actually in New York where they're based. So it's not even down here in Southern Maryland for once. Mr. Keelan, I'd rather see the Chiefs 4-peat or an Eagles win. Well, it would be a 3-peat this year as far as in a row, but it would be a 4 overall. I would rather see the Chiefs win. And then maybe it's okay to go back to going, in the war chants they do. Worst, listen, you're not getting your Redskins name back, but if you want to chant in the stands and do all that stuff, nobody's going to stop you. There's no chanting police. I mean, everybody sings Hail the Redskins anyway in the stands, and that's okay, So why are people texting me? I'm just making sure. Some feel that somebody's telling me that they feel Chip Kelly will make a bid for Mariota, who is a free agent. Those two are pretty tight. That's a real possibility. I saw Chip Kelly's getting $6 million to be the OC. $6 million for an OC. And Steve Spurrier is the guy that got everybody a raise years ago. What's it been now? 23 years since he came here. He got everybody a big raise then, and the money just keeps going up and up and up. So I guess we're seeing $10 million head coaches. I don't know what Dan Quinn makes. I never really heard that too much. Guillermo stepping up big time. Thank you so much, Guillermo. That's going to buy a bunch of clay or whatever they want. I don't know. I bought them some clay already, but I guess they're going to make more. I told them, don't make me an ashtray. Make me something nice. Do a bust of me or something. That'd be cool. Anyway, but I do appreciate it. All the money goes to local ceramics high school club. Well, not a local one, but around. And you're helping kids. So what more can we do? We've done good fundraisers on this show. Christmas, we've raised enough money for 9 kids to have something nice for Christmas. At Thanksgiving, we raised a couple $100 for food banks. So I'd like to think you guys, since I don't bug you for money, really, I do, but you don't pay it. Guillermo does, but most of you don't. I haven't made this a paid site or anything and I don't take the advertisers because I don't want to sit here and drive you nuts. And I even turned down the ratio of ads on this thing because I heard last week it was bad. I don't get to see that, but I put it down to like the least ads they can do. Those little things you click through, and I make a penny. So I don't bug you with all that stuff. So this is where you step up after a whole season of free and help these kids out with the ceramics club. Also, hit the thumbs up button for me. You can do that for me because that makes the algorithm happy. And God knows we have to bow to the algorithms. Ask Elon that. Marcus, I agree. The Lions offensive coordinator, D coordinator, it's hard not to take a step back. Yeah, I think so. So maybe Washington takes a step forward. I think if Washington can win more than 10 games next year, I'd be a little surprised given the schedule and some other things. But hey, we were surprised this year, so maybe next year they keep on trucking. Who knows? Mike remembers when the Cards were in the NFC East. So what year was that stopped? Sometime in the 90s, right? I used to love going out to Phoenix. And when they played St. Louis before that, Washington seemed to win every year in St. Louis. I covered some games there too. Although I don't think they were risking games. I did a Final Four in St. Louis once. Great town. I'll give you a quick story on St. Louis. I'm in the park, Final Four weekend, and the day before we'd already finished, so I had the evening free. I'm in that big downtown park. I went up to the St. Louis Arch, which was really cool. If you've never been in it, you get into like 5 of you get into this little egg thing, and you're hunched over while it goes up the arch, and great view. So go do that. You got to pay for it, but it's worth doing. Washington Monument's free. So that's really cool. We did that, but there's music in the park, and it's Kelly Clarkson of all people. So there's this group of young people in front of me, like 20 somethings. And back at that time, I was in my 40s. And one of the guys has had too much to drink and utters a very minor curse word. The other guys in the group get on him for cursing in front of the women and made him apologize. And I thought, wow, is this 1950? So I was pretty impressed with St. Louis on that level. All right, Eddie, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yeah, after next week's Super Bowl, I'll come back on Monday, and then I'm taking like a month off to, of the shows. I'm not going a whole month. I'm going 2 weeks out in Hawaii, be my 46th state, and see a couple other things too, and just get out of here. I haven't been on vacation like this in quite a while. St. Louis Cardinals, yes, Stevie and Mike. That's right. Then he went to Arizona and never done jack since. Too much. Oh, Jim Hart was a quarterback. Yeah, that was the 70s. Steve, I remember that. Todd, the 1984 game at RFK came down to the last play, and Neil O'Donnell missed the field goal, and the Redskins won the NFC East. You have a better memory than me on that. I've done so many games. How many? I was trying to think of it. Somewhere near 600. I'm not exactly sure. So they kind of melt into each other after a while. Yeah, thanks, Marcus. I'm going to, my wife said, what do you want to do? We're doing a cruise of the islands. And she says, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go see Pearl Harbor and see the USS Arizona and see what that's all about. And I want to go to a luau. And after that, I don't really know. She's playing the rest. So I don't want to go fall in a volcano or anything like that. But, eat some pineapple. I don't know. I'm just going to chill out and have some fun. Don't expect a lot of videos. I might post a couple of them just to tick everybody off. Like, I'm in Hawaii while you're cold. Because usually you do that to me. So that's my plan. And then I'll be back early March, and free agency will start like 2 weeks later, and I'll be hitting the grind again. Yeah, Marcus, a lot of football stadiums in those 46 states. If you don't have a stadium, I haven't been there. I am missing Vermont for some stupid reason. I drove by it, but never went in it. Should have. Nebraska, Iowa. I'm planning to do that maybe this fall, and Alaska. So right now, I looked at temperatures. It's 80 in Hawaii and 10 in Alaska. So I'm going to Hawaii. If I ever covered the Pro Bowl, no wind, I have not. I saw two plays on Sunday of the Pro Bowl. I promised myself I wouldn't watch it. I watched two plays and just thought, seriously, this is what they're doing. And now there's talk about the NFL is thinking of creating a professional flag football league. Okay, whatever. They're talking about playing two games in Australia. I think that's ridiculous. I like this. I take a little pride in this one thing. When Washington went to Osaka, it was a 17-hour flight. And I've since learned that that was the longest flight an NFL team has ever taken. So I'm on the longest flight ever of NFL. I looked at it. It's like 14 hours from, or 12 hours, something like that from LA. But who's to say the teams are on the West Coast? That's just a killer, man. Can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. It's too much. The NFL is just getting greedier by the day. And I don't care if they got a bye week after or whatever. No, no. So keep it here. If they ever think about putting a Super Bowl in London, I'm not watching that game. What time would they play it there? What time would it be here? Super Bowls are a lot of money in this country as far as not just in the city themselves, which is worth several hundred million easily, but think of all the. Say you have a dinner, everybody's got big Super Bowl parties that coming this week. My kids all come over to my house with grandkids and all that, and I spent a bunch of money on food. Well, suppose that they move this game to like, I don't know, 11 a.m. or something. It won't be the same thing. It's going to take an economic hit on us. I don't like that at all. Last week, my kids did come over to watch the NFC Championship. My grandkids, they're almost 5 to 10 now, and they want to watch the game. Well, both my granddaughters went and played Barbies or something, and so they never saw any of it. My 10-year-old grandson got on his iPad and really didn't pay. And the 5-year-old basically watched a minute. So I was left in peace to watch the game. I tried to teach him something. My one grandson's got his other grandfather's from Buffalo, and he wants them to be part of the Bills, of which I said, hell no. He's not going to be a Bills Mafia kid. I don't care. He lives here with me, down the street from me, so no. Okay. Eddie, it would be awesome to have a third place game on the week before the Super Bowl game. The losers consolation round. Yeah, but I think nobody would care at that point. So I don't think it would be a good game. Sort of like the NCAA used to do that with the Final Four. And then the losers played a game before the championship game, and they gave that up. The UFL, Steve? Nah, don't care. I mean, it's okay, but I don't watch it. I went to a game once. It was kind of fun. Scott, what's the best Super Bowl food? Whatever somebody else is making. I don't know. I don't really have a preference. I'm trying not to be a food guy anymore. I'm failing, but I'm trying not to. I do like hot dogs, but I just don't eat them much, but that's a good one. So we eat healthy stuff now. So, let's see. Mark is not an international games guy. I mean, I don't mind having a 9 a.m. game. And I think we'll find out maybe this week if Washington's going to be in the Madrid game with Miami later in the week, probably Wednesday, Thursday. So I'd like to see that. I don't know that I'd go to it, but it would be cool. It'd be cool to wake up at 9:30 in the morning, watch the game, be done by noon, go about my day. Let's see. Bills Chiefs game was good, but you knew what was going to happen. God, other than Daniels being great at the number 2, what do you think about Caleb Williams? I just kind of looked at his stats. He had a decent year. It wasn't a great year. I think Chicago would rather have had Jaden Daniels. I know their coach would have because he got fired. So I always said I didn't think Caleb would be a great quarterback in this league. We'll see more next year, what happens with him. That'll tell the tale, I think. He had a decent league. He's got the talent. There's no doubt of that. Mike, Spurrier said at Osaka, it's a great night to throw the football. Well, I covered that game. He may have said that, but this is 2002. I came back a week later, had a massive heart attack, and just several weeks. Thank God I wasn't in Osaka for the heart attack. or flying home with it. I'd have been dead on the Redskins plane. Wouldn't that have been a hell of a way to go out? Flying over the North Pole on a Redskins charter flight, dying. God. And yeah, I came pretty close. So I don't know if he said that. Probably he loved to throw the ball around, but they were losing at halftime. I do remember that they were losing to the 49ers at halftime when the regulars were in. And then he scored a lot of points with the backups and he's crowing. And I'm like, but you were losing when you counted, with ones. And he's like, kind of communist are you asking me that question? And whatever. Oh, Steve saw my video. I tried to get the grandkids to eat vegetables and they all screamed and ran off. So they love being on YouTube. That video was their idea, not mine. Let's see. What's the last sport you'd watch? You mean like the last thing I would watch, God? WNBA. Although I will say I caught a few minutes of a game last season and was impressed that the level of play has gotten a lot better. That would probably be it. I saw the Six Nations rugby thing yesterday. I mean, it was a Sunday. I was home for a little while. What's on TV? I don't know what these guys are doing, but it was on. I like soccer and hockey. I think are great live sports to watch, but they're not as good on TV. Cap's game experience is great. And I like soccer. My very first sports beat was a soccer team in college, so I know something about it. Lacrosse bores me. A lot of sports bore me. Auto racing bores me. They're just going around and around and around, for hours. I covered horse racing for a long time. That's 2 minutes. I can pay attention for that race, not 5 hours at Daytona. Show me the last couple of laps. I'll watch that. Steve, Jaden Daniels should be on the cover for Madden. Well, sure, why not? Great young player. Of course, and then that brings the curse, right? Is that still a thing? I saw a Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition at the bookstore when my wife wandered away. It's you remember Sports Illustrated thing where they always like, "Ooh, these women are half naked." Today they still dress the same way, and we're all like, boring. So life has changed so much. I don't know what they would do to merit attention anymore. So that was interesting. Saw they had different covers of people and all. Okay, caught up. All right, so since we caught up, remember there's that ceramics thing we're trying to do. I know it's ceramics, but you know what? For the kids, that's what they like doing. So there are worse things to do in life. So we're trying to raise some money for them. It's a brand new high school club, and we're trying to help out. And there you go, Mike. Thank you so much. I wouldn't give up the farm for miles. Well, I wouldn't either. But Chris Cooley was a big part of it, guy. That's right. He had that shop in Leesburg and charged $1 billion for bowls or something, but he had it there for a while. I had to have shop class in 7th grade, industrial arts, and we had to make something out of clay, but not like I did anything good. Non-revisionist. How often does Sports Illustrated publish? I think every other week, isn't it? I worked for SI for a year with just the online, and then that's my diabetes meter saying something to me. It's probably saying, "Hey, fat boy, what have you been eating?" Yeah, that's what it's saying. I just had dinner. Anyway, if any of you have diabetes and you see these really swell monitor things, these things are great because you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. You just hook it up to your cell phone and it tells you what your blood sugar is right then and there. And it does make a difference. So if you now the Ozempic part of everything, most diabetes is rampant in this country. I've been one for 31 years, 32 years, half my life. And it ain't easy. So something like this does help. But I do get annoyed by that thing. Okay. God, I say trade or sign a W-2 over the offseason. Well, you definitely do. If you get Myles Garrett, you don't really need that edge guy. So that's the great thing about the draft is free agency's already filled whatever needs and you focus on what's left. But they do need a number 2. They've had a bunch of guys who are 3s that they take turns being a 2, but you really would need a 2. Todd, met Chris Cooley in Philly. Um, Doc Walker, Larry Michael. Yeah, yeah, decent guys. Cooley liked to badmouth me on his radio show years ago. I don't know why. So he can beat off too. When you're king on the beats at the height of your career, they all come trying to tear you down. Whatever. I don't care. If they think I care, they're wasting their breath. Steve, if the Commanders should tweak the logo and change it to a minor Major Duddy logo, wow, would people will lose their minds over that? Lee, Cooley's out west living. Last I heard, I honestly don't pay attention to the guy. I like to cover him. I don't know what happened, but he would badmouth me on his radio show, being a jerk, and so he can go beat off too. Todd, thank you so much for helping out the kids. See, we do this. I'm not a greedy individual all the time. How many Washington players have I met? Well, God, I've covered the team for major newspapers and media for close to 40 years, so I've met them all pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, and even guys that preceded me, I met a lot of guys in the 70s. I know most of those star names there I've met over the years too, like Sonny and Billy and Joe and Larry Brown and Chris Hamburger and Pat Fisher, and sadly, a bunch of them have passed away. I think I've met guys dating back to the 1950s. I once interviewed Ray Flaherty, the coach, who coached the 37 championship team and the 42. And I talked to Ray, and I think it was 1993. I think about a year or so before he died. So I do have talked to people in the very beginning. All right, Marcus, what did you think about Andrew Luck retiring? I think he was right. If he felt like it was time for him to go and he was still in one piece, then do it. You don't want to see guys stay too long and have these concussion problems. You got the rest of your life. You're young men. You have the rest of your life to go do things. And you've made some money. Hopefully you kept it. So I think it's the right thing to do if you feel it's time to walk away from the game. Most people walk away from the game when you're 16, you get a car and you meet girls and have a job and, that kind of thing. Steve, last player I met was Fred Smoot. I like Fred. He was a funny guy. Fred one day is talking about the cones on the field. He's got that thick accent. And he goes, the cones on that. And I'm thinking, is he talking about these orange traffic cones? What is he talking about? He's saying corners, cones, that deep South accent. Whew, yeah, that one got me. And God, they got Gardner the same year. Gardner's accent was really hard to understand. They had Trey Johnson in the locker room at one point. Half time I didn't know what Trey was talking about. And he was a smart guy. Coaches and teaches in high school here in the Washington area. Smart guy. I just had a hard time with his accent some days. Is Ralph Regent still in the area? Non-revisionist. No, he lives. I think he lives up north now. Once in a while, you hear something from him, but I covered him a few years. He's a good coach. Let's see. God at Lobes, Doug Williams, the only one you met. Doug's a great guy too. I'll tell you, they win the Super Bowl. I had to cover the team that year to a degree, but I was like down the list at the Washington Times. So when it came time for the Super Bowl, I didn't go. But the day after the Super Bowl, it was my job to be at Redskin Park and whatever happened. So Doug Williams comes in to get some mail, back off the plane. He comes in, the pizza delivery guy shows up, sees Doug, rips off the top half of the pizza carton thing and gets Doug to sign it. I don't know whose pizza that was, and Doug did sign it. He was a really good guy about that kind of stuff. And so he signed it. So somewhere out there, somebody's got a pizza box signed by Doug. Lee, thank you so much. Appreciate it. OG is getting old sucks, but there is a little benefit from it. People think you're telling the truth. Bison for life. How are your interactions with the DC sports guys like George Michael, Glenn Brenner, and Warner Wolf? Hated Warner Wolf, big jerk. Glenn, I didn't get to know personally very much. I was around him a little. Hysterically funny guy. All right, here's a Glenn Brenner story. I'm covering a golf tournament, And all of a sudden, this guy comes in a golf cart, comes flying out of a sand trap, actually gets into the air, and then comes down hard and keeps on going, cackling like crazy. And you're thinking, who is that lunatic? It was Glenn Brenner. You know, if you were around Glenn, you were laughing. He was a great guy. George Michael, I loved. George was full of bull. He was a huckster. He knew it. He didn't care, and that's what made him rich and famous. Covered his funeral too. But he and I would. I actually got along fine. I liked George. He would give you a hard time, but I I had no problems with George because he admitted what he was. Pingu Foster. Ooh, I like that. Pingu. If I said that right. What's the best pizza to have while watching football? If I could pick one, I would go. Maybe I will be picking one. Who knows? I like deep dish the best. Although I like really thin crust too. There's not a lot I don't like. Um, I tell you what, my favorite pizza lately has been is this place called Curry and Pies, Curyn and Pies. Um, it's an Indian restaurant right by the Key Bridge in DC in Georgetown. They make Indian food, really good. It's just this hole in the wall place, 7 tables, but they'll make any pizza like an Indian dish. So I had the chicken marsala pizza with the light seasoning. These people are serious, man. Don't test them, and it was awesome. So I was pretty impressed with that. So I wouldn't mind that, but a deep dish, eh, I would go sausage over pepperoni, but I like both. Let's see. I'll tell you a funny story. There's a pizza place with two stores. One's 5 minutes from me, one's 30 minutes from me, called Pizza Hotline. So I ordered, I go over to one by me. They don't have me there. What is it? Uh, I ordered from the other one. I had to go drive half an hour over to get those, come back. I'd ordered three. One, I could have just told me to eat it. So, and they make pretty good pizza too for just being a local one. Let's see. Steve George was great and funny. Yeah, I mean, and, I didn't know Jim Vance because he never left the studio. Some of these guys never are out of the studio. Citrusol, the Luca reaction. Uh, I saw that. Everybody says it's terrible. I don't know enough about it to really guess, but yeah, the NBA likes to move players around, right? I do like Mark Cuban. I think he's pretty cool. Let's see. Philly D, the division's going to be tough, maybe one of the best. Well, I mean, Philly's going to be tough for a while. Washington is going to be tough. I don't see the Giants being much for a bit. And Dallas, well, this was their first bad year in a while. They win a lot of games. They don't win in the playoffs, but they win a lot of games. So, yeah, it's there. Marcus Mustard. I like that. Pepperoni. Okay. I have no problems with pepperoni. Um, James, not happy that the name isn't changing. Sorry. Everybody told you this. Um, so you saw Hamburger inducted. Chris Hamburger. Okay, here's another story. I guess I'm telling stories tonight. I had to talk Chris Hamburger, this maybe in the late 80s. And he was the auto parts manager at a Ford dealership in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, which is outside the city. But he used to have his own dealership, Chris Hamburger, Chris Ham. And he'd sing that song all the time, Chris Hamburger Ford. And I was like, wait a minute, you're just running the auto parts counter? You had a whole dealership of cars. It was down the street from University of Maryland. He wasn't a real fun guy to talk to about all that. So that's the only time I really hardly ever met Chris. Ever tried Werther's? Oh yes, God. Matter of fact, I had one the other day. I found some candy that was in my Christmas stocking left over, and had a whole bag of Werther's. Not anymore. But, all right, thinking about getting beef ribs for the Super Bowl, James. Ooh, that's interesting. I like ribs. I don't get to eat them much, but um, that sounds solid. I like a dip with like a bean dip. If you have a good bean dip, those are pretty cool. Of course, it's always about desserts for me. Anyway, let's see, Mike. Yeah, George revolutionized it with his 11 Sunday night show. Yeah, that was a big deal. So, Trump is God. Wow, who wrote that? Do you believe in the Bible? Yes, I do. Um, Dude, I don't know what you're up to with all this. You want to bad mouth Jesus? Good luck. That's your problem, not mine. Please don't be one of these trolls just trying to be a jerk. So, or else I'll shut the show down if you do. Um, Steve was at Oarsman Chevrolet. There was another one that had car commercials on all the time. You always get your way at Oarsman Chevrolet. I remember that. I think they were in Virginia, right? Or they might have been in Maryland too. Where's your favorite dessert place in DC? Philomena. Philomena's awesome. They got the old Italian grandma in the window making cannolis. They are authentic as it gets. I don't try to eat cannolis because it's all sugar, but so I don't really eat dessert out too much. I know at my size, you think I'd be this big foodie, and I'm not. Do you think Washington will look into drafting a kicker? Now, revisionist is here tonight. Nah, I don't see that happening at all. I mean, they had a bunch of guys. They did well with a bunch of guys, kind of strangely enough. Steve, Marlow Heights. Yeah, Marlow Heights is just outside of DC also for those of you out of the area in Maryland. And there's like one auto dealer after another up and down that road. And then you come down to Waldorf and it's the same thing. There's like 10 auto dealers on both sides of you there. Do I play fantasy football? God, no, I do not. Just not interested. Just didn't interest me that much. So Trump wants to talk about stuff here that I don't want to talk about. So it's not that kind of show, dude. Ironically enough, I do have a show starting in March. I decided to wait because the Commanders went so far in the playoffs. I didn't have time before I leave. But I will have a show called 52 Questions for God. It starts in mid-March. Once I'm back, we'll do the taping. One question, 10 minutes, Sunday morning, and yes, you still have to go to church. But we'll ask questions you want to ask God. And they're not blasphemous because I'm not going to hell over it. But, it'll be something interesting, something different. I think it's going to be a really cool show. Todd hopes to keep Gonzalez. I like Gonzalez. He's done okay overall. Has a really weird stance approach, but whatever works. Mike wants to re-sign Tressway. Yeah, I would say the greatest punter of all time on the team. Why not? I would say I'd over Sammy Ball, though I did not see Sammy punt. Number one need for this team, Ask Matrix. I know you're going to think I'm nuts, but I'll say running back. I think they need to upgrade on running back. We could all, and I've given the excuses for Brian Robinson. The poor guy got shot. Okay, I get you on that one. You had EB calling plays and forgetting about him for weeks. I get that. You got an offensive line. It's not great. I get that too. But at the end of the day, you see what a great running back can do. I just think he's been here 3 years. I think it's time to move on. Will they? I'm not sure. But I think that would help a lot. I don't know if it's their number one need, but that's probably pass rushers are really number one need. I got a football platter at Christmas gift exchange. Oh, okay. Is that food that you got at Christmas, and you're just eating it 6 weeks later, or is it just I don't know? Maybe it's something else. I learned how to say charcuterie. So, thoughts on the long departed Washington Star newspaper? Asked Bison for life. I was a paper boy for the Washington Star. I was a senior in college and hoping to go work there because I grew up reading the Star, not the Post. And they folded in summer of '81. Met a lot of guys who worked at the Star, came to the Washington Times where I would come to work, which was a really nice. We had a great sports section in the '80s and '90s when I was there. I was there 20 years and then moved on. But we had a lot of guys from there, like Dick Heller and Marty Herney and Gene Mueller. And there was quite a few writers came over. Mo Siegel. Whew, is he a mean old man? Mo is an old newspaper man, and we don't tend to be a happy bunch. Mo is. Steve, it'd be more great if that's Saquon Barkley. Yeah, I mean, if you get somebody like that, wow. But he's the exception versus the rule. But you need something closer to him. Super Bowl week. How many Super Bowl media days did I work? Marcus, 5. Yeah, 5. I did the last Redskins Super Bowl, and I did 4 others. I can't remember what they were hardly, but um, you know, a lot of it's tonight, isn't it? Yeah. Now they let the public come. They have like 30,000 people there at that thing. Talk about getting in the way. And I remember when like downtown Julie Brown with these big breast cones and all this stupid stuff started happening, and you couldn't really get your job done at all because of this nonsense. And now the NFL is making money off it, as they make money off everything. Mike, biggest needs large defensive lineman. You're probably right there. I don't think they need a wide receiver 1. They need a 2. Tight end. Tell me what Ertz is doing. Agree to need a Barkley type. There you go. God's going to sign off tonight. Oh, come on, man. But next Monday, I'll be here 8 to 9, and then we're taking a break for a month. I'll do some shows around free agency. I'll do a couple around the draft, and maybe 1 or 2 during the off-season camps. So here, some in the off-season, but Rick wants to take a break. Rick's getting old. Rick's decided to come back for another season, but I don't want to work quite as hard as I did before because I do have other business interests too, including my tours. If you're coming to DC, you can go to my website, ricksnyderswashington.com. Yes, ricksnyderswashington.com. I have my tour stuff there as well as some Commander stuff. I'm kind of merging it all together. So go visit the website. You'll read some cool stuff. How long when the NFL goes to 18 games? Probably, Steve, I would say 20, 29, be my guess. I think that's when the new TV contract is. So they'll go to 2 preseason games, which is nice. Man, felt like a long season this year, especially with 3 extra, playoff games, which was great. But 3 more weeks, man, it was been a long run. Flag football is an Olympic sport. Mike has it. I know a lot of NFL players that are thinking they won't be playing football in a few more years are actually talking about they want to go do that. They want to go do that. It's really cool that they want to. So I say we win. I say why will America win that? I don't know, but they should. But maybe somebody else could be smart. I mean, look at Jack Del Rio's coaching in Paris now, some club team. I've heard about those ones. And they sound like fun stuff. So maybe that's what Jack wanted to do. I don't know. Guillermo, there you go. You just continue to be my favorite since you actually throw in the money for us. And so that's going to help these kids. At the Ceramics Club. That's my fundraiser tonight, which is nobody has texted me any money. So, yep. If you can donate directly on PayPal or Venmo, or you can hit the thanks button, the $sign below me, if you can see that. But we're trying to donate money for a brand new high school ceramics club and help these kids do something positive with their time instead of, going out there and getting in trouble. So if you're okay with that, if you kick in $5, whatever, it'll buy a piece of clay. I don't know. It's not my kid. I'm not doing that. So it helps. Mike, thank you so much. Do I have any tours booked for Hawaii? Every single day, dude. My wife did tell me that we're going somewhere every single day. We're going to do. I did get the tickets to see the Arizona at Pearl Harbor. I know we're doing that. We're taking some plane ride on one of the days, and I don't know. Other than that, somebody's meeting us and taking us somewhere. I've been too busy. I was so busy with this Commanders thing going all as far as they did. I just didn't have time. So I said, pick what you want. Careful what you wish for, huh? I don't know. And a luau, we're doing that. Know that. And I'm gonna learn. I tried to learn my how to do the hula dances, but you'll see my new hip replacement on live stream next week. No, so I don't know. That'd be cool. It's going to be someplace I never really thought about going, but we decided why not cruise all the islands and see it. So why not? Will I be vlogging in Hawaii, Pingu? I'll bet you probably. No, it's not so I can write off my taxes. I ain't going to try that. The IRS will come get me. But Yeah, why not? I'm sure I'll run into something that'll be funny and you guys will laugh and we'll have fun with it. And it's in the US, so I'm not paying any kind of foreign phone charges of some sort. That's the cool part of that, because I mean, Hawaii's like twice as far as Europe is from DC, so and yet we're still in the country going that way. So the only interesting part will be just time adjustment, because it's going to feel so different. You're going to be waking up early, I'm sure, and you'll be waiting to eat. Sorry, that's always weird. But I'm on a cruise ship, so I'm sure they'll have food for me whenever I'm hungry. I want to go on one of them cruise ships where they talk about the desserts go up to the ceiling and you can keep eating until you die. I've been on a couple cruises, never seen that. No, especially when you go abroad. I was in the Baltic Sea. If you're ever looking for something cool to go on, Norwegian has cruises out of Denmark to around that does the whole Baltic uh, Sea, and it was a fabulous trip. Like Helsinki and Stockholm and Russia port, Germany, Poland. I mean, I had a great time. Everybody there loves Americans because they're more afraid of Putin. They know it's us that keeps them Putin away. That kind of stuff. So they treat Americans well in those countries. And there's a lot of people that speak English over there, and they want American money, even on the streets of Russia. I was in St. Petersburg, Russia, and everybody there wanted, they could spot an American in a minute because you're wearing a ball cap, and I don't have white tennis shoes, but people do, and they want your dollars. They don't want rubles. They don't want euros. They want dollars. What are they doing? I don't know. Get my mouth shut on that. It's kind of a weird place, though. When you go into Russia, they everybody tells you, do not be a smartass with the security people. Say yes and no and mind your business. And they mean it. And yeah, you can see the security over there. Very different. Whereas like I was in the Dominican Republic working, my God, guns everywhere with military around there. And in the Dominican, if you ever go to the Dominican Republic, and I know people go there on vacation, there's a whole business that people do of they make their livings taking your bag to a cab for a tip. But you have to be one of the chosen ones, or else the military guy, if he's not getting anything from you, hits you with a bullwhip. And it's pretty intense when you walk through there, man. I speak some Spanish, so I got by, but whoo, that was different. Um, let's see, Steve's cruising, is long. Yeah, Marcus, I'm telling you, man, check into the Baltic Sea, Norwegian Cruise Line out of Copenhagen. Pretty often. Finland girls. All right, so Mike, I'm in Helsinki. And the tour group has straight onto a path, like a paved path. I didn't think we were on anything. And a couple guys on their bikes come up and they're ringing the bell. And the tour guide says, "Oh, we have to move. We have to move." The Finns are so nice that ringing a bell is like them yelling, "F you, get out the way." But that's just ringing the bell. Here we'd yell at you, "F you, get out of the way." But they're so nice. That's as far as they go is ringing that bell. And then women, just watching them at the Olympics was pretty cool. They're beautiful women. People there are nice uh, and in shape and all that. All right, Joe, the wife and I have been on a lot of cruises. There you go. Princess Cruise. All right. I'm not a big cruise guy. I think this is my fourth one. My wife likes to go instead of changing hotels all the time. What she doesn't know is we're laying over in LA. So we're going to be changing hotels there twice, actually. And we're laying over in Seattle. So we have a hotel there. And we have a hotel one night in Hawaii before we board the ship. You should always fly in the day before because airlines. Steve, you lost 15 pounds after your last cruise to Alaska. By effort or sickness? That does scare me a little bit with all this stuff, having a mask. All right, so Guillermo or Bill wants to know how I am. He's good. And he's wishing my family and myself well. More or less, Guillermo. I didn't say I was perfect. I don't use it enough anymore. I used to, but studied for 7 years in schools and all that. So I just wish I could use it more. And ironically, Spanish comes really in handy if you're in Italy because they're both Latin-based languages, but they're kind of pronounced differently. But people know they kind of know what you mean. So maybe you just sound stupid, but they still get it. And that's the bottom line. Now we have so many translator devices. I don't know if people have to learn foreign languages anymore. East Coast all the way up to Nova Scotia, Steve. I know what you're talking about. I wasn't on a Carnival one, but I took one from New York up to Halifax, I think it was. Up there. I was up in Canada a couple of places. And Portland, Maine, and those things. Did it in the summer. It was kind of just like a nice cool break. I don't mind cool breaks in the hot summers in DC. So occasionally we do that. And that's why we're going to Hawaii in February, although the weather's broken in DC. We had a really cold 6 weeks from like December through the end of January, but it finally broke last week. Hallelujah. So it's like, oh, it was 50 something a day here. It's nice. So I enjoy that. Oh, we got 10 minutes to go. Anything you want to know? Here we go. We can talk about whatever. So, like I said, well, should they go for Myles Garrett? I say definitely merits a phone call. Don't let somebody else get him for a 2 and a 3 or something stupid. You know, be the one that does that. Steve, you need strong sea legs. They have this thing you can wear on your wrist. Does it really work? I don't know, but I've never been sick. But then I've been whale watching. And you can really hit some swells. Doesn't bother me any. Might be famous last words, but we're cruising around Hawaii, so I don't think we're really like, deep stuff like that. Watching Monday nights again. Yeah. Oh, Mark. So, the gossip is Washington's going to be on a lot of prime time games versus hardly ever, in preseason years. So, yeah, Marcus, you can go whale watching off the coast of California. I went from San Jose, and we went 10 miles out, and we get right next to a whale who like turns on its side, and its eye is like right there next to the boat looking at us. Well, he's splashing about, so we're going 12 feet up, 12 feet down. It's like you're on a runaway roller coaster. Didn't bother me at all. One of my kids turns green. People were at the rail. One person's puking, the next person's eating a sandwich. I mean, so it just depends. I will say it's cold. If you go out on one of those things, even in the summertime, it's freezing on the open ocean. So take a sweatshirt, believe it or not. So that was kind of cool. It did. Been a lot of places, done a lot of things. That's what life's about, hopefully, before I get too old and can't do anything. Steve, your sister's in San Francisco. I love San Francisco. Gone there many a time. Mike, Josh says he wants to upgrade the Ashburn practice facility. Yep. I don't think they're moving the practice facility away from Ashburn, what we've been told. They may sell the present site and build elsewhere in the area, but they are holding off till they figure out a stadium deal just in case it becomes a needed chit and the game, and they've got to move to Maryland or DC, but they don't want to, and I don't expect them to. And the facility has gotten smaller and older. They've been at this facility since literally right after they won their last Super Bowl. They came back and reported to the new place, and Joe Gibbs shows up the first day in the morning, and the door's locked and nobody's around. He had to call the janitor guy from the old place. Say, hey man, you got the keys for this? So it's been there for 33 years, where the Redskin Park before that, they were there about 20 years. That's now a church. It still has a goalpost up there. They still play football on the side fields, like youth leagues. Okay, let's see. Marcus, Jane Daniels deserves 3-4 primetime games. Why not? Yeah, they're talking about that. I wouldn't be shocked to see the Thanksgiving Day game against Dallas, and maybe they get that Madrid game. So that's like, we're talking like 6 games. That's a 30-year schedules. Right away isn't a 1 o'clock Sunday game, which are my favorite games because I get home at a decent hour on there. Balenas equals Wales. Okay, get them. I'll have to up my game. We do have a lot of Spanish fans, Spanish-speaking fans, who follow the team. I look on my analytics and see some people translate my website into Spanish. So Gabe Bueno. My old Spanish teacher, Mrs. Cope, Senora Cope, would be happy that I learned something in her classes. It's amazing what you kind of remember. It's enough that I can kind of figure out what's going on. Shark tacos. Never tried that, Steve. I've had, trying to think, I've had fish tacos, but I've never had shark. Oh, thank you, Guillermo. Vegas Jim's here. I wonder where you were. Did you see the new stadium rendering video? Yeah, I mean, it looks cool, but that's just somebody said, how about this? Oh, I could do that too. Tell me what Josh Harris said today. He's got 4 things in mind with a stadium. One, he wants to make it a hellhole for opposing teams versus the locals that we have now. So he said the rest of this is kind of, what do the cities want to do? And does he turn it into a complex of entertainment of everything, or is it just a stadium? That's a lot of the discussions going on right now. So we shall see what goes on there. Okay, let's see. Anybody else? Trying to see who's just. Oh, okay. So Will just sent some money for the ceramics. Thank you, Will. I do appreciate that. The kids appreciate that. I told the girls, I've already got a clay ashtray, so you guys make me something nice. A bust of me would be awesome. That would take a lot of clay, though. Then they'd be like down clay or something. Steve, yeah, another rendering is out there. Hey, whatever happened to the moat one? Where they're water skiing on the moat. That'd be the Anacostia River is not very deep around there, but I've been on it on a boat around there, and it's some parts at low tide, if you can call it that. You can almost walk across the Anacostia River in places. So, and unfortunately, a plane crash was just down the river from all that too. I'm sure you guys saw it on TV, right at National Airport. And National downriver from, say, Nats Park. It's right by National Airport, so mile or two, something like that. It's not far. So, glad you're checking out YouTube. Yep, I am on YouTube, Rick Snyder's Washington. So we're there, and I'm cutting back a little bit, taking a breath. Augustine the King, I haven't seen you in a while. You were predicting 10 wins in the playoff. Well, you the man, Augustine. You the king. Steve, won nearly $100 when they won that game on Thanksgiving. Okay, good for you. Augustine's got my book. Okay, well, one day when you come by, I'm always glad to sign them on there. I didn't even pitch books today. I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break. I'm giving you guys a break and not bugging you about stuff. Unless, if you'd like to buy my presidential pours, hey, President's Day is coming up in, like, I don't know, couple weeks. So if you'd like to drink like a president, you can get it on Amazon. We'll play that game today. I'm taking a break. I'm going to work on a cookbook. I'm afraid it's going to take me longer. This playoff run pushed back my off-season plans a lot. But I'll get to it. All right, Steve's got to go. Steve, you can't go. If you're going, I'm going, because we don't cheat each other on this show. We're here every minute of it. Yeah, see, you guys can blame Steve. Anyway, I'm Rick Snyder for Rick Snyder's Washington. If you want to watch the show, if you missed any, it'll be right back on auto just a few minutes on YouTube. If you'd like to still donate to the Ceramics Club, you can still send it here in the chat. And I'll get it tomorrow, whatever, if you want to. And then videos are 6 a.m. and otherwise. And next week's the last Monday, so make sure you come next week. We'll have a party. Who knows? Adios, Guillermo. Appreciate it. Hasta mañana. And Eddie, thank you so much for coming too. So if Guillermo keeps tipping like he does to help these kids out, I'll speak Spanish the whole show. Pingu, thank you for coming. Everybody, thank you all for coming, because this is your show. 11 million impressions across social media last year. Woo. Even I was surprised by that. Mike, that Reagan Airport it was meant just for the senators and congressmen when they built it, and then they decided to let us use it too. That's true. And actually, I have a story this past week of how it used to be a colonial plantation of George Washington's niece there. Caveman 2.0. That's right, Mike. That's what I got. So anyway, that's it, everybody. I gotta let Steve go, so I gotta go with him. We're hand in hand here. Anyway, I think Andy Reid's gonna come by on my show later this week, so make sure you watch the videos. And I'll see everybody. Have a great Super Bowl. Don't say "Fly Eagles Fly." I won't say anything mean, but I'll hope the Chiefs win, and I would take the over if you're doing that. I'm Rick Snyder. Thanks, everybody. Bye.